Hello everyone, this is Akash Chauhan, and in today's lecture we will discuss about operator overloading using friend function in C++. We have already covered what is a friend function, right? And what is the use of friend function. So now let's focus on some basic information on friend function. So friend functions are not member functions. So if something is not a member function, then we are not supposed to access that member like that object dot member. This notation is only for the members of the class. Okay, and if friends are not member functions, then we are not supposed to access friend functions like object dot the member. Okay, like we access the variable or the function. The second point is we are going to use actually the friend function in operator overloading. Okay, so in operator overloading, if you are defining, you can define the function inside the class or outside the class. Only in this scenario, if you are overloading operator, then you can define the function inside the class as well, but usually you are supposed to define the friend function outside the class. Okay, this third point is very important. The friend function has objects as argument. Okay, so we will look into it, that what is the meaning of this statement. But first let's understand why we use friend function in operator overloading. Okay, so let's say we have a and b, two integer variables. A is 10 and b is 15. So if I want to write a greater than logic using the greater operator, then a greater than equal to b, and this is the question mark. This is the shortest way of writing your if and else loop. So if this statement is true, this will be executed, and if this statement is false, then the statement of written after colon will be executed. Okay, so in this case, this statement will be executed. But if you pay little attention, this L is left and B is the right operand for this operator. These L and R are predefined object. So this A and this B are of integer type, and integer is a predefined data type. Okay, like we usually say this is a primary data type, but this is predefined. Compiler can understand it. What is the meaning of integer? Okay, we can only assign the values, but the range is decided by the data type. Okay, which is already understood by your compiler. It means if L and R both operator, it is actually a binary operator. Why? Because it is taking two operands. So if both operands L and R are predefined data types, then compiler can easily understand. But what if they both the both operands are user defined? Like if we can define them, okay, then how the compiler would understand? Compiler would never understand. If we define these left and right operand by ourselves, then the compiler will never understand until unless we provide some logic to the compiler, that if you find, so we say to the compiler, if you find your left and right operand predefined, okay, if they are predefined object, then you go with the default logic you have. So compiler would definitely have the greater than or less than logic within the compiler if we have both object type. In case of predefined data types, the compiler would understand, but in case of user defined or the object type, we have to give the logic. So in that case, we will overload it. Overload it means if for one situation, compiler would understand like that. For different situation, the compiler would execute the different logic. So we have to provide the different logic. In that case, we will overload our greater this operator, greater operator. So if we pay little attention on test 1 and test 2, L and R both operands are of object type. Object type means we have defined the class for these objects. It means they are user defined classes. Okay, it means so both of these operands are user defined objects. Okay, user defined operands. So in case when the compiler would encounter user defined operands both sides, then the compiler would say I don't have the logic for that. If they are user defined operands, then the user should also provide the logic for this operator so that I can understand what to do with these objects or these operands in case they are both user defined objects. Okay, so for that, what we will do, we will overload this operator like we have done in the previous lecture. So we will overload it. So to overload it, we use operator keyword. Okay, so we will create a function like void operator, and this keyword we are going, this operator we are going to overload, right? Then we will write operator greater than, and then we have to pass the argument in the function. So if this is a binary operator, it means the first argument will be this and the second would be this. So the first argument will be the object of test1 type, the second argument would be test2 object. Okay, so the function would look like this. Focus on this void operator. This is how you overload any operator. Then you pass the arguments. The first argument is this, the left hand operand, and the second one is the right hand operand, because this is a binary operator, not the unary. In unary operator, you just need to pass only one argument. Okay, but in case of binary operation, you have to pass two argument in this case. So we will write the logic what to do with these objects if you are comparing those objects. Like here you are checking which object is greater, and this is actually a meaningless thing. How can we say this is a greater object until we can only say if a value is greater or not? Okay, so it means these object might be having some variable. So by using that, we will write a logic to compare those variable inside these objects. That would be our logic inside this function. So this function we will define outside the class. Okay, so we have two choices. Either we can make this function a member function. Member function means we will access this function using object dot method. Okay, object dot member. Okay, and we have this choice to define this function as a friend of that class. Okay, so here it is a very important thing to understand why we will consider it a friend function, because if let's say we will define it inside a class, member function means it is a part of the object, so whatever object will be created will be able to access it. So let's say we have 1000 classes. Okay, and 1000 classes will be executing the same logic 1000 times. If we write it inside each and every class, it means if they all are calling the same type of logic, we have to write, if we go this way, if we want to make it a member function, we have to write this function 1000 or 100 times inside the class. Otherwise this function wouldn't be the member function, right? So I have to define, either I have to define it inside a class or outside a class. If I am saying it is a member function, okay, we are saying that this is a part of each and every object you would create. Okay, and you have to define it that many times. For example, you have created 10,000 classes, and 10,000 classes would be using the same logic. Then you have to define this function 10,000 times, because it is a member function. It is related to the object, or the instance will be created for that class. But if we write it a friend function, then we this friend function can be shared in all those classes. So we just need to declare it. Here we have declared, this is the declaration of a friend function. We are saying to the compiler, while the compiler will be executing or compiling your class, you are saying that this is a friend of mine. The class would say to the compiler, this is a friend of mine, and I'm declaring it. I have declared this is my friend, and this function can access my private data. Okay, that is the meaning of friend function, right? If we don't say it's a friend function, and it is a simple function, then your function wouldn't be able to access your private data of that class. So it is mandatory to make a function, friend function, because we want to access the private data of that class. Otherwise, what is the point of writing? There would be no relation between two functions, and there would be no relation between the function and the class if it is not a friend function. By creating a declaring it a friend function, we are saying this function has the authority to access my private data. Then we can write the logic. So what how this would be efficient and less complex, because we will define it only one time. We will declare in each and every class, like, this is a my friend function, I and this function can use my or can access my private data, but I'm not defining it. There will be only one definition outside the class. But in case of operator overloading, you can define the function inside the class as well. There is no restriction. Preferably you should define your friend function outside the class, but while overloading an operator, it is totally fine to define a friend function inside a class as well. So let's not focus on that. So we have understood the need of friend function, that we don't want to write this logic again and again for same classes. We don't want to make it a member function, we want to make it a friend function. So we will declare it a friend function, and we only define it once, okay, and it will be used many times, because it would be the friend function, and the same function can access, if it is a friend for 1000 classes, it means 1000 classes are giving the authority to this function that you can access the private data of those 1000 classes. Okay, it means the same logic can be executed for 1000 classes. We don't need to write this logic again and again. So this is theoretical. Let's discuss it in a practical way so that we can understand. I hope you have understood why we have discussed friend has object as argument. Here we are passing object as argument because it's a binary operator. It requires two operands to compare, or like in this case it is comparing. It could be different for different operators, but in case of binary we have to pass two argument in the function. Okay, so let me write. So what I'll do, I'll create a main function, and in that I define test1 and test2, two objects. In each object should let's say in test1 we have variable a, and in test2 we have variable b. So before comparing and we have to set the values. So in test1 okay, I'll create a function which will set the value like set a, okay, or in test2 I'll also set b by using cin or maybe the set method. Okay, so let me write the logic for you. So this is the main method. In main method I have two classes, test1 and test2, and we have respective objects t1 and t2. I am calling t1 get a and t1 get b. It means by using this I am setting value of a inside t1. Whatever the variable is there, I am setting the value by using cin object. We will see in T2 we are also setting b value inside test2 variable. Okay, but here if you pay a little attention, I'm comparing two objects. If they are integer type, then the compiler would understand these are predefined data type. I know the logic. But in case of user defined objects or user defined operands, the compiler would say, hey user, you should provide me the logic. It means you please override it, sorry, overload this operator so that I will execute that, because the logic I have would not be executed on two objects. I only know the logic for two predefined data types like integer, float, character. But for user defined objects, I don't know. So you should write a function for that, a overloaded function. So my task is to create this class in which we have one variable here and one variable here, to create these functions, and then I should write a overloading function to compare t1 and t2. That is my job. Okay, so let me create test1 and test2 class. So Uh, test2 is the class. Here I am only declaring it. Okay, I'll tell you why I have just declared. Test1 is the class in which I have A as a private data, and there is a public method which is asking a value from the user. Scene is by using the extraction operator, it is asking for the user from the user to input a value, and it will set as A for test1. Okay, for test2, let's say, and we have defined it's a friend function. Okay, and friend function would be the greater function. Okay, the greater operator would be the friend function we have to define. Here we are only declaring. So let's say if I simply comment it out, so what will be the issue? It will say, you compiler would say I am not able to find the declaration of T2 because you are using it directly without declaring it. So that is the reason I had to declare test2. Now I'll give the definition of test2. It will be similar to test1, but the variable would be B. Okay, so here it is. So test2 is similar to the test1. Here only the difference is the variable is V. And again, I am not defining the logic of this friend function. I am saying this operator, this function has the authority to access my private data. Again, here also I'm saying this function has the authority to access my data. So if this function has the authority, then we can define the logic. Okay, so the logic we have written over here, we can write this logic for objects as well. So to write the logic for objects, let me define this friend function, the definition of this function. Okay, so here it is. So this is the way. Okay, so let me give you a little bit more information how to declare a friend function. So friend function, you have to use friend keyword, whatever is the return type, then you have to use the operator because you are overloading your operator, and the operator is greater than. Okay, so whenever the compiler would come to this, okay, to comparing two objects, this function will be called. Okay, but there is no definition, so let me provide a definition for that. So this is the definition. Make sure not to add friend over here. It is a general function. Okay, here we cannot decide it is friend for every class. It is a general function. During the class definition, we can say this function is a friend of mine. Okay, but the definition would be normal. So it will have two argument t1 and t2. Why? Because it is a binary operator, it will ask for two argument anyhow. Okay, so we cannot compare two objects, we can compare only values inside the object. So t1 has a, T1, T2 has B. So in T1, by using get A, we already set A, and B also using these two methods. Okay, we have already set A and B in T1 and in T2. Now if we call this, we will compare this operator, the compiler will not execute the default logic. It will ask from the user what you have written in your overloading operator. So this is the logic. So we are comparing two value. It is same as we have just discussed over here. If it is true, A would be greater, and if it is false, then B would be greater. So without any further ado, let me execute it. I hope the main important point of this lecture is why we have used it as a friend, because we don't want to make it a member function. We don't want to give the definition again and again. We just provide one time the definition of this function one time, and each and every class which is going to use this function, we will tell only this is the declaration I have declared, this is my friend. So this function has the authority to access my private data like B and A. Okay, so we don't need to define it again and again. It will definitely reduce the complexity of your program and also the space in your program. So this is the main motive of today's lecture. Let me execute it. So it is asking me for A. So A is 1 and let's say B is 2. So the B would be greater. Okay. So here we are done with the logic of overloading our greater operator. So guys, I hope this concept is clear to you. Thank you so much for today.